We'll start with the prayers. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Taittriya Upanishad with Shankara Bashyam. We are doing second chapter, the 8th section. All Upanishads have the central goal of revealing my real nature. Taittiriya Upanishad follows the system of analyzing our five personalities at the individual level. The study is not complete till we analyze the world. Individual is Vyashti, the world is Samashti, totality. So the analysis of individual is with reference to the five koshas. Five koshas means Annamaya kosha, Pranamaya kosha, Manomaya kosha, Vijnanamaya kosha, Anandamaya kosha. That means I have got five dresses, but I am without all these five dresses also. Like, for example, when I am in the sleep state, I am all by myself without any of these five personalities. Now, that personality of mine without the shariram, without the body, is the analysis of all the Upanishads. We all have the experience of ourself as the Atma. Without the physical body, subtle body, causal body. We all have the experience. Experience is there, Anubhava is there. But that experience is mixed up now with our waking state experience, where the mind is awake, where the sense organs are awake, and I'm seeing the world of sense objects. So, in our own mind, each one of us has to look into what I call myself as aham, I. When you say I, does it refer to the physical body alone? No. Because physical body is not there in the dream state. Our body is mixture of three things. It is mixture of gross body, subtle body, causal body, and something which pervades all the bodies, which is called as consciousness. The subject matter which you are studying is consciousness. In this, when we try to analyze the individual and the total, in this 8th section of Taittiriya Upanishad, it says that the essence behind the sun and the essence behind the individual mind is the same. That is why it is called as Mahavakya. Essence means what? The consciousness which blesses the sun to be the sun, the consciousness which blesses the mind to be the mind, that consciousness is one, is what is the Mahavakyam. Tattvamasi. You are that. You are that means you are that consciousness. Aham Brahma Asmi. I am Brahman means I am that consciousness. Which consciousness? Which is common to both the individual and the total. So this is where you have to remain. whenever we study this eighth section, we have to remain at this starting point. What is the starting point? The starting point is I am free from the body. I am pure consciousness. This consciousness, which is called as Atma, is nothing but Paramatma. What is Paramatma? Paramatma means he is the creator of the whole universe, creator of this entire prapancha. He has that power. My power is limited, but the essence means there is something called as consciousness, which is common to Paramatma and Jivatma. That commonness is what is called as Brahman. Okay. So with this short background, I will get into where we stopped last week. Now, this is where we stopped. We are analyzing the revision portion of the eighth section, where the Upanishad says that the Jiva merges with Paramatma when he gets this knowledge of Upanishad. Now, the question is, which is asked by a Purva Pakshi, is Jiva identical with Paramatma or is he different from Paramatma? Is Jiva already Paramatma or he becomes Paramatma after knowledge? Then Shankaracharya starts looking at the Upanishadic mantras. Mundaka Upanishad says that he who knows this supreme reality, he crosses sorrow. He crosses ignorance. He becomes immortal. So through jnanam of the Upanishad, through the knowledge of the Upanishad promises a jiva to obtain the same status of Paramatma. This is in Mundaka Upanishad. In Taittriya Upanishad itself, the first mantra says, the knower of this consciousness, Brahman, attains the supreme. That means there is nothing beyond that. See, you and I are trying to get a glimpse of that consciousness and to remain in that consciousness forever. That is our goal. That is what we are trying to do. So that Brahman or consciousness is the truth. And he who knows that truth, which is common to the entire universe, he is a free person. Now, Jiva who becomes a jnani has to be Paramatma already. That is the contention of Shankaracharya. It is not that the Jiva becomes Paramatma, but Jiva realizes that he was always of the nature of consciousness, which is the nature of Paramatma also. So the Sankshepa Uttaram means the answer in brief to the Purva Pakshi's question is that the Upanishad intends to give knowledge by removing the doubts covering this knowledge. There is a law which says if you meditate on something, you become that something. Now, Purva Pakshi uses this law. He says X becomes Y by retaining original nature or by dropping the original nature. That is the question he's asking. Because whatever is the original nature of a person, it cannot be dropped. For example, if you are consciousness, you cannot drop your nature as consciousness. Even in the sleep state, you are consciousness. In the dream state, you are consciousness. In the waking state, you are consciousness. But what happens to the body, mind, world which comes and goes? In the sleep state, there is no world, body, mind. For you, don't I'm not talking about others, because we are seeing what is the locus, which is the Atma in you. It will be the same for others also. You see, if you know what is your locus as a jiva, it is the same locus for the other person also. Upanishad says Jivatma becomes Paramatma, but what it actually means is Jiva is already Paramatma, then only it can become Paramatma, because you are only removing the covering of other obstacles which exist to conclude that you are the consciousness in reality. Upadesha Sastri says, Upadesha Sastri means thousand teachings of Vedanta. In that chapter 117th verse, it tells us how this self is discovered. Is the self discovered? It is discovered by the Shruti statement. What is the Shruti statement? Neti, neti. That means what? When I keep on telling myself, I am not the physical body, I am not the mind, I am not the intellect, and then you stop. Wherever you land, actually the Upanishad says that is what is your real nature. So whatever Atma which we are saying is devoid of all attributes which you have. So the best way to understand Upanishad is I try to remove all the attributes of the three bodies. Gross body attributes, I drop. Subtle body attributes, I drop. Subtle body means pranamaya kosha, manomaya kosha, vijnanamaya kosha. Causal body means anandamaya kosha. That also, anandamaya kosha means what? I don't know myself. That ignorance also I drop. Now what do I say? I know I am pure consciousness. Pure consciousness means what? It is knowledge of yourself without any conditioning of the three bodies. See, your intellect must be able to travel in this direction of dropping the five koshas and remaining there. And then only this entire discussion of this section, 8 section, will make sense to you. You cannot be looking at your body and trying to make this analysis. You cannot look at your mind and make this analysis. You have to reach Atma and then understand this question and answer. So, Purva Pakshi says, Jiva, if he is different from Paramatma, he can't become Paramatma because that is his nature. Similarly, Paramatma also can't become Jiva. So, how can Upanishad say through knowledge alone one becomes the reality? How Brahma Veda Brahmaiva Bhavati? Shankara says the secret of Vedanta is neither can become Paramatma. Becoming Paramatma is an expression. Literally, it is not possible. Vachyartha is not correct. So, what is the correct explanation of Jivatma becomes Paramatma? It means what? You have to take the figurative meaning like we did for the Anupravesha Struti. See, these are two very important topics in Taittiriya Upanishad. One is Upasankramya Vichara. Second is Anupravesha Vichara. How Jivatma obtains in this body is Anupravesha Stuti. How does consciousness obtain in this body? That is one type of analysis of the jiva. The second type of analysis is what we are doing now. How does the jiva merge with the consciousness? In both these cases, you should take the figurative meaning, means it is as though the jiva is merging with Paramatma. How is it possible? Shankaracharya says, before knowledge, the jiva mistakes himself to be the limited jiva. Limited jiva means what? The consciousness which is attached to this body alone. And then he mistakes it to be the gross body. What happens when we get the Upanishadic Jnanam? When he gets the Upanishadic Jnanam, he drops the notion, I am Jivatma. How does he drop? He drops all the attributes of the body and then he says, I am the Atma. That's all. So in this case, what happens? He is only dropping a notion in his intellect. So the Panchakosha Abhimana, the identification is what makes me feel I am a limited individual. All of us, we have to go through this process. This is the process of learning the Veda. Veda is teaching us how I should look at myself. If I look at myself as the physical body, I will be always perennially in sorrow because it is limited. My mind is also, if I say I am the mind, I will have hundreds of problems. If I say I'm the causal body, I have ignorance about myself, I will be eternally ignorant. This is how Taittiriya Upanishad teaches me to drop these three identifications with the three sharirams. Very, very important topic in all Upanishads. The Bhashyam, Shankaracharya's commentary, in this section is the highest. In this section is the biggest in the whole Taittiriya Upanishad. Similarly, in Mandukya also, in this particular section where the Jiva Paramatma merger or the oneness or the Mahavakyam is discussed, that is where Shankaracharya spends a lot of time trying to explain to us how each one of us should do this analysis in himself or herself. So, the purpose of Upanishadic Jnanam is to negate the misconception that I am the Shariram. Now, this is the Sankshepa Uttaram. This is a Sankshepa Uttaram means it is the answer to the Purva Pakshi's question in a short way, in a small way, in a simple way. Now he is going to expand on this and then he is going to go deeper and deeper into a little bit more deeper analysis. What he says is for the negation of the five koshas, which is called as Abhimana Tyaga, the renunciation of the identification. Try to understand. We all have these five koshas, all of us. But I can remain as Atma or I can remain as these five koshas. Normally, without jnanam, we always take ourselves to be this physical body and live through the whole life. But here is where Upanishad tries to teach us how you can live a life identifying yourself as Atma. This abhimana, which is called as the self-awareness, is born out of vidya. Avidya means ignorance, self-ignorance. Now, this is the central thing which we have to knock off from our mind. The self which I don't know today, I have to know it through the Upanishad and claim that self as my real nature. The moment this Mahavakya clicks for a person, all his doubts will vanish. This is the subtlest teaching. This is the most difficult thing in our entire spiritual journey. Understanding the Mahavakya and claiming that pure consciousness is my nature. This is the most difficult, but this is the way to do it. What we are learning is the way to understand our real nature. Now, when we do this, what happens is first we have to understand that there is pure awareness, it exists. This is the starting point. You have to accept that there is something called as consciousness, awareness, and it alone is. If you miss this point, you can never have moksha. Moksha means freedom from identification with the three bodies. But if you don't accept the starting point, you will not reach the destination. Now, today, our mind's condition is a mixture of rajas and tamas. Now, that mind which is involved in activity and in laziness, inertia, has to become pure sattva. Only then what will happen is this awareness, which is beyond time, will click for you in your own intellect. When it clicks, what happens is that self awareness, which I didn't know, the self ignorance which I had, that goes away when I wake up to that consciousness. But today, what happens is the power of Sattva Pradhana Prakriti is overcome by three conditions of the mind: active, semi active, passive, and passive. Passive is tamas, semi passive is rajas, and active sattva. Here we are talking about active sattva. We are talking about sattva pradhana. But that is what will give me the final pure knowledge of the pure chip. This anatma, body mind identification, is gone because of self ignorance alone. What is self ignorance? If you ask, in Mandukya Upanishad, the mantra number 5 and 6 define the self ignorance very beautifully. And it says that the sleep state itself is called as self ignorance, the whole state. Suppose I know that I am the pure consciousness, that self ignorance will go away. There will be, you would have woken up from your sleep state in which you have been there for millions of births. Atma, when it is mistaken, also is Atma alone. You see, Atma doesn't change at all. Atma is Atma. It is always the same because that is the nature. Atma is like the rope. But today the rope is being mistaken as that three shariram, which is the rope snake. And that is born because of ignorance. Ignorance of what? Of the rope causes rope snake. Ignorance of Atma causes the identification with the three sharirams as aham. See, this particular portion deals with self ignorance, the spiritual ignorance portion. That is why this is a very subtle and abstract topic. We have to go through this type of reasoning to remove our ignorance. This goes on for a few slides, but this is the way Taittiriya Upanishad has to be studied. Now, the next portion, this particular para which you see here, is commentary of Shankaracharya. How are you able to arrive at this interpretation that the purpose of this teaching is to gain the removal of ignorance? How can you say this is the question of a Purvapakshi? See, Shankaracharya himself raises this question as if it is somebody raising a question on him. What Shankaracharya says is figurative means it is negation of what is superimposed on Atma. That is the three Sharis. How do you extract this from the Shruti? How do you extract this from the Veda, from the Upanishads? You see, whenever we talk about moksha prapti, moksha means freedom from identification. It is basically a jnana phalam. It is not karma phalam. What is karma phalam? Shankaracharya says there are only four possibilities of the results of actions. What are the four possibilities? Whenever you do action, either you reach some place which is called as apti, or you produce an object which is karyam, product, like a pot, by action. A potter makes a pot. That is an action. You travel from one place to another place. That is also action. Body travels. Then the third possibility of the consequence, the result of action is transformation, vikara. A milk becomes curd. That is vikara. It modifies. Purification. You keep on polishing gold. Then it becomes 90%, 95%, 98%, 99% pure. So samskara. So these are the only four possibilities of action. But freedom, moksha is not through action, but moksha is through jnana. Upanishad says that you are already you are Brahman. It never says you become Brahman. And any jnana phalam is drishtam. Drishtam means it can be known by a person. Whenever you get knowledge, it is called as avidya nivritti. It happens in the case of laukika knowledge. It happens in the case of spiritual knowledge. So suppose I don't know a particular language. I don't know Marathi language. I don't know Sanskrit. I learn Sanskrit. That is what is called as avidya nivritti. That means ignorance about Sanskrit goes away. That is what is jnana. Similarly, the spiritual jnanam is what? Spiritual jnanam is I didn't know my nature as consciousness. Once that misconception goes away, it is called as reaching your own nature. It is not spatial travel, but it is travel from ignorance to knowledge. So, Vidya alone is the means of attaining this pure consciousness. That is why we study Upanishads. Shravanam involves Vidya Jnanam. Upanishads teach us the knowledge about our nature as consciousness. In the next para, Shankaracharya says that if it is a question of a particular uh, means to reach a place, by merely becoming aware of that place, you don't reach the place. Like, for example, there is London. By becoming knowledgeable about London, you don't reach London. You need to travel to London. Now, that is what happens in the case of physically trying to reach a place. But here in the case of Upanishad, it is not physical travel, but it is travel in your own mind. Knower of Brahman attains Brahman through knowledge is what Upanishad is saying. So in this case, nobody thinks that actual travel is to the destination is required. It is only travel through your own mind. For example, if you have four routes to a temple, you have four doors or four gates to a temple. It is possible because it is a physical entity. The temple exists in the ground. You can have four gates. But in the case of Brahman, it is not that it's not physical. It is something which is in your own, which is your true nature. If it is physical gates, you can have north gate, south gate in many temples. You will find several gates, north, south, west, east gate, and there are four gates possible. Now, generally, when we say Brahma Prapti through Karma Yoga for the extroverted people, through Jnana Yoga for the intellectuals, Bhakti Yoga for the emotional, or Ashtanga Yoga for those people who believe in mysticism. Now, these are all four levels which are prescribed. Even today, we say that, you say even in Bhagavad Gita, but these are all only starting points. The final, the final gate is only jnana. That is what Shankaracharya wants to say. That even in spirituality, you may start with karma yoga, upasana yoga, but they are all beginning steps. And this is a case of internal travel. It is not extrovert travel. Brahmajnanam is only possible through jnanam. That's what he says in this paragraph also. Here, see, normally what Shankara, how he explains is, he says there are two types of destinations. One is far away, different than me. Here, if it is far away, jnanam is not enough. Jnanam plus karma is required. That's what I gave you the example of London or America or India. For those you need to travel because the object is far away. In the case of Brahman, the object is me, myself. Therefore, Shankaracharya says it is subjective jnanam. You need to have jnanam and you don't need karma. Objective jnanam given is route, but it is not the destination. Marga jnanam. But in the case of subjective, it is lakshya jnanam. Lakshya jnanam means you are only given a direction in which you have to look at yourself. Upanishad gives us Brahma Upadesha. There is no marga involved. It is because ultimately that happens to be myself. If I know that I am this pure consciousness, then what is required? Only jnanam is required. And If I am that consciousness, this Jivatma itself is this Paramatma. Now, this portion of Jivatma itself, this Paramatma, is a slightly subtle topic. You should understand Paramatma means cause of this entire universe. The cause of this entire universe is this consciousness. And my nature is also consciousness. Therefore, this oneness which we are talking about is possible and it is what is intended by the Shruti. Okay. Like I said, try to understand the reasoning of Shankaracharya in these sections. These are the ultimate last few steps in Moksha Marga. Internally, when you travel, we drop the five koshas. That is easy. But this portion of upasankramya, that means merger into that consciousness, is the trickiest part, which the intellect has to do only with reason. That is why Shankaracharya, he specializes in this in all the Upanishads. In Mandukya also, he has the same section in chapter 3 of Mandukya Upanishad. And very similar arguments are given there also. There also, you will reach the final destination, which is that pure consciousness. Here also, we will make an effort to reach that pure consciousness. So, this is just a revision. I have already taken up this portion. And we have seen this Mundaka Upanishad also. The one who knows Brahman becomes Brahman by knowledge. Okay, these portions I have covered. There are two statuses. One is called as Jiva status. The second is called as Brahman status. In ignorance, we are called as Jiva. The delusion is the side effect. That means I am always confused. If you are always confused, that means you are a Jiva. Suppose you see this Upanishad, I have really now understood. I am the Atma. Then you are not the Jiva, you have attained the Brahman status. Who has attained? The same Jiva who was identified, who had identified himself with the body, now has transformed and he has learned to identify with consciousness. When this clarity comes, there is no delusion at all. No doubt at all. That is why I keep telling, people in the class that don't worry if you have doubts. Let the doubts remain, but continue your study. When you do these portions of the Upanishads, your doubts will get nullified because the intellect gets a glimpse of that pure consciousness, which is the ultimate destination for a jiva. The moment you also are able to say, I am the Atma, in your own mind, you don't have to tell anybody, nobody else needs to know this. This is a Atma Jnana means it is a jnanam for each one of us in his own core personality, where you accept the Shruti Vakyam, which says you are the Atma and the Atma is Brahman. Atma is Brahman takes a little bit of time. You have to know what is Brahman. You have to understand the first verse which we did. Brahma vida apnoti param tadesham yuktam. The first verse of second chapter, first section, first mantra. From that Brahman only this entire creation has come. That is the definition of Brahman. What is the definition of Atma? Atma means whatever remains after I remove my five personalities is Atma. So I have reached one core point in my personality. That core personality has to be made to join the core personality of the entire universe. This is done by Mahabharata. That is why the sun, the essence of the sun and the essence of the individual is taken up in this eighth section. So dropping the notion is what is called as Vidya Matra Upadesha. I thought I was this body. Through Vedanta, I have come to know I am the pure consciousness. Shankaracharya clarifies more and more about the subjective science, which is this Atma Jnanam, compared to the objective science, which is reaching a place or using action to have the final result. In the case of subject, which is I, Jnanam alone is enough. See, during Shankaracharya's time, there was a very significant school of thought which said that you have to combine knowledge with action in order to gain moksha. So all these portions which I have now in these slides are only trying to refute that Purva Pakshi who kept on saying that karma is required, karma will give you moksha. And Shankaracharya, he keeps on repeating, saying karma is not required in the case of Atma Jnanam. It is pure knowledge of the spiritual nature. Here again, in this next paragraph, Shankaracharya says, rituals and upasanas which are being taught in the first chapter, which we didn't cover. The rituals and upasanas were taught in the first chapter. They are the preparations, they are the means for Brahmajnanam. They are not, see, karma means rituals. Karma can be kahikam karma, vachikam karma. You can do action through mouth, which is speaking, physical actions through the body, doing namaskaram, or mental action, which is upasana, meditation, visualization. These are the three types of actions. All these three types of actions, see how Upanishad tries to define all this. You see, all actions which we do are defined only in these three ways. There cannot be another fourth action. Physical action, kahika karma. Mental action, upasana, meditation. Vachikam karma, speaking action. Now, all those, he says in this paragraph, that they are only means to the final jnana. They will purify your mind and they will give you fitness to get this jnana. You will ask for a guru. The moment your mind is fit, you yourself will walk towards the path of Vedanta. Each one of you have come here after a lot of journey which you have done in the past to reach your own spiritual center. It is not the first time you're coming to learn Vedanta. There is a vasana in you to come and learn this subject matter. So sadhanas are given, upasanas are given mainly. Now these are the sadhanas which are mentioned, which I'm not going to go into, speaking the truth and so on, doing sacrifices, doing rituals. These are all see this particular portion of the first chapter, it tells you all the sadhanas which you can do. Ritam cha swadhyaya pravachane cha satyam cha swadhyaya pravachane cha tapascha swadhyaya pravachane cha damascha swadhyaya pravachane cha. All these are different types of sadhanas. Agnihotram, then even study is a sadhana. Spiritual study is a sadhana. Now, these are all disciplines to reach the final goal of jnana. So, karma pradhana, upasana, if you have 75-25, you will not reach jnana. What, what reaches, what the method of reaching moksha is through jnanam alone. So if samuchaya means karma and jnanam is a mixture for moksha, then what Shankaracharya says is it will become anityam. Anityam means, see, karma phalam is always anityam. How? In Bhagavad Gita, there's a very beautiful verse. Tetam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam shine punye martyalokam vishanti. That means through rituals, you can get swargaloka. See, many people do rituals. I mean, in the past, even today, people don't know why they do rituals. People don't know. See, rituals are done according to the Veda. Suppose you want to enjoy better, uh, a better quality body, better body, better enjoyment in a world. You know what enjoyment is possible in this Bhuloka. But in Swargaloka, the enjoyment is thousandfold. We have seen in in the 11 lokas, there was a section where we did Ananda Mimamsa, where we saw that in different lokas, you can get different sukha. But all that is through rituals, not through jnana. Through rituals, you can become the Lord of Swargas, Lord Indra. So they play a role in moksha. These are all side talks of Shankaracharya to explain to us that focus on jnanam and get moksha. This is the Anupravesha Stuti where Shankaracharya says, having created the universe, Brahman entered it. We have seen this in the sixth section. In the second chapter, sixth section is the Anupravesha Stuti. Eighth section is the Upasankramya, the method which explains to you about merger. So these two sections are very important sections of Taittiriya Upanishad. You the more you listen to it again and again, the more your mind will get tuned to uh, the destination where Upanishad wants you to go. And ultimately, what does it show? It shows darshati, the nature of Brahma. By doing all this analysis, what do I get? I try to understand that my nature is pure consciousness. If you want to know in simple terms, why do we do all this analysis? It is only to know how to drop my identification with the body and learn to remain as pure Atma. So after creation, Anupravesha Suti says the Paramatma himself entered the body as the Jivatma to experience the world. That is the Anupravesha Suti. Okay. He quotes this in this particular state because he wants to you to understand Anupravesha and Upasamkramya. They are related topics. The knower of Brahman, okay, this again and again, Shankaracharya quotes this first mantra, knowing Brahman, you become Brahman. Because that is why he emphasizes jnana. A dreamer, he when he gets when he wakes up, he doesn't meet the waker. What happens is, I myself am the waker. That means the dreamer knows that I myself was the waker. When the dream ends, when you wake up, what happens? The waker realizes I am the dreamer. I was the dreamer. Similarly, when you rise to the level of Atma Jnanam through this method of dropping the Panchakoshas, you say, I am that Atma. And this Atma itself appeared as the waker, it appeared as the dreamer, it appeared as the sleeper. This is how we do the analysis in Mandukya Upanishad, where we study the three states of consciousness. I myself am appearing as the waker, and the waking world is, you can say this only when you have dropped the identification of the body mind and you say, I am the consciousness. Jiva does not merge into Brahman. Jiva understands I am Brahman. I am that pure consciousness is what the Jiva understands finally. See, this is a spiritual travel. When you arrive at the end point, this is what happens to you. These are all the stages of your understanding of your real nature. Jnani by mere jnanam attains abhayam. Abhayam means what? Fearlessness. We have done this in the seventh section. See, when you come to this Atma and Brahman, this particular topic, when you have reached the final stage, and that stage is where Shankaracharya says, a jnani who has realized himself to be that consciousness, which is the substratum for the entire Jagat, he is the one who is fearless. In Brihadaranyaka Upanishad also the same question, the same thought process comes. Dvitiya, Dvitiyatvai bhayam bhavati. Whenever we talk about bhayam, these are the two quotations which we have to remember. How to cross fear in life. Whenever there is Dvaitam, there will be fear. Whenever I know I am Advaita Swarupam, then there will be no fear. How do I get this Advaita Swarupam knowledge? Through the study of Upanishad. When avidya, ignorance goes away, jnanam comes. When jnanam comes, what goes away? Dvaitam, which is the cause of fear, goes away. Dvaitam means what? I and the I am the subject and I am experiencing the world. That is what is called as Dvaitam. But in Advaitam, what happens? Advaitam means I, the Atma alone am as the substratum. Like the waker alone is the substratum for the dream world. Atma, the pure consciousness alone is the substratum for the waker's world. When I know Atma, the samsara cycle stops because Sanchita karma is burnt, Agami karma never comes in the future. Whatever karma which I am doing, actions which I am doing today, they do not produce any results in the future. Therefore, there is no more karma which I have to do in with the help of a body in the future. What happens is I get a videha mukti. That means I don't take any more births. See, these are all the results of Atma Jnana. When the Bheda goes, Bheda means subject, object, duality. When Bheda goes away, Bhayam will go. But if Bheda is there, that means I am living in this universe. Suppose you keep on thinking, I am, that means what you are identified with the body. Then what will happen? You will have fear. But suppose you say, I am the consciousness, which is the adhishtanam for this entire universe, your whole identification shifts towards Atma. In consciousness, there is no bheda. There is no notion of any differences because it is the substratum. It is like the waker. All the dream world, where did it all merge? It merged in the waker's mind. Similarly, all the waker's experiences, where do they merge? They merge in Brahman. They merge in Atma. So avidya nivritti takes place. Avidya nivritti means what? Self-ignorance goes away with the help of vidya. Vidya means what? Atma jnanam. Bheda is the cause of fear. Abheda is the cause of fearlessness. And the conclusion of this entire section is Jivatma is already of the nature of Paramatma. It is only a wrong notion he had that I am a Jiva suffering in this world. This notion, if it gets dropped, it is possible to drop the notion through the study of Upanishads. When we continue the study, this notion that I am the Jiva, slowly it starts coming down. The fearlessness will start rising in you. That's what Shankaracharya says in this particular section here. The oneness of Brahman, once it clicks for you, fearlessness will be the result. So vidyaya anupravesha vidya matram mokshaha vidyaya abhaya pratishtha. These are all the corollaries. Through the knowledge alone, you can get moksha. Through this knowledge alone, you will understand what is anupravesha. When you understand anupravesha, that this jivatvam is only a reflection of that consciousness which is pure. Our mind is nothing but that atma. It is only that pure consciousness, but it appears as the mind in ignorance. I have to remove this ignorance and say, I am that pure consciousness. Then the mind itself becomes no mind. That is what it's in Mandukya Upanishad, it says, Amani Bhavaha. Anyway, I won't digress here. Coming back here, Abheda is the truth. Abheda means there is no difference between me and the world. World is in me, the consciousness. When I say this, body is also in consciousness. Consciousness alone is. This way, I remove the Bheda which I experience. Bheda, the sense organs are designed to illumine Bheda. Through the sense organs, I will always experience a duality. But in my knowledge, I have to know Abheda Swarupa Atma. Abhayam Atma. Again, the Bheda Abheda is being explained here. The bottom line of this discussion here is it is only ignorance about this Atma which causes this Bheda Darshanam. Darshanam means vision of duality. You can live in this world with a vision of duality, which our sense organs will project throughout our life. The sense organs will definitely project. Only Bheda, only difference between subject and object. In all our waking state, we will always have this Bheda Darshanam. But in our mind, it is possible to retain the Upanishadic knowledge. And what is the Upanishadic knowledge? It is a fact. It is a fact that there is only one pure consciousness which exists. For example, Shankaracharya says, suppose a person has got a defective eye, he will see Dvaitam. Means suppose you have some problem with your eyes, and then you will see two moons, two chairs, two tables, and all that, because you have some problem, you know, which is called as Timarike. Timarike means you have a perception of duality because of some defect in your eyes, maybe cataract, maybe other defects. But similarly, we all have the defect of self-ignorance. We have to remove this self-ignorance through this Atma Jnanam and then see the world of Abheda. Abheda Darshanam is the Advaita Darshanam. Jivatma, Paramatma are non-different from Brahman. See, look at the word here. Jivatma means one identified with the body. Paramatma means one identified with the whole universe. Both this Jivatma and Paramatma have got a common element from which they rise and they resolve. And that common element is Brahma. They are both non-different from Brahma. Dreamer is non-different from Waker. Waker is non-different from Brahma. This is the path. This is the way I should understand the Mahabharata. So Jnani's vision is without any ignorance. Ajnani's vision is with ignorance. So Ajnani will see the three worlds and say waking is a fact, dream is a fact, sleep is a fact. What is Jnani will say? Jnani will say consciousness is a fact, existence is a fact, pure being is a fact, universe is mithya. What is Satyam? Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya. For a Jnani, the universe appearance will continue, but he will not take it as the real Swarupam of the world. The real Swarupam is consciousness. Jnani and Ajnani, the differences are pointed out here. After Jnanam, duality continues for a Jnani, but it continues as Mithya. Like a dream, it appeared. Mithya means what? It appears. So all of us, in what we should say as students of Vedanta, we'll see how we should learn this Vedanta Upanishad. We should say this world of waking state will appear, but it is mithya. It is only vyavaharika satya. It is only a relative reality. But what is the absolute reality beyond which there is nothing? Absolute reality means it is the ultimate where the relative reality resolves. That resolution ground is called as Atma or Brahman. In Sushupti, in the sleep state, the world disappears for the Jiva. Therefore, it is said that the world is Mithya. The perceptive duality will continue because the body still continues in the world. The body is a part of the world. In the world, when the body is there will be Dvaitam till you die. This Dvaitam experience will not go away. But in understanding, you will come to know that there is some other reality which is the truth, which is what the Upanishad's aim is. Okay, so Shankaracharya continues this moon experience, the second moon experience again and again. He talks about that to the Purva Pakshi, and he says it is only a defective nature which but of self ignorance, because of which you conclude that the body is real and the world is real. Because the world disappears in the sleep state, only because it disappears for you, we say the world is mithya. Again and again, he gives the definition of mithya. Mithya means it exists seemingly. Dream exists seemingly. It is anitya. The entire waking world is anitya. It appears, disappears. When does it disappear? You go to sleep, it will disappear. So, is your sleep state the real state, or is your waking state the real state? That is what Janaka wanted to know in Ashtavakra Gita. He says, in the dream state, I thought I was, I mean, experienced myself to be a pauper, a poor person. In the waking state, I think, I mean, I'm seeing myself as a king. So which one is real? Then Ashtavakra teaches him both are not real. Your real nature is you are the sakshi of both the states. So similarly, waking you are a sakshi, dream you are a sakshi, sleep you are a sakshi. I am of the nature of sakshi. Nirvikalpa samadhi through yoga is possible, but it is only a yogic experience. It is anitya. Jnanam is nitya. Suppose you come to know the sun never rises. It is the world, the earth which goes round the sun. Once this fact is known to you, it's a fact. Similarly, the appearance of the waking state is incidental. Consciousness, Brahman, the pure nature of the world and the jiva is this uh, pure existence, pure Satchidananda Swarupam. If that knowledge is goes deep inside your subconscious mind, you will at any time you will never have sorrow in life, because you have dropped the identification with your body and mind as yourself. That is what happens to Arjuna in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. After he had gone through the 13th, 14th, 15th chapter, he knew very well that he was Atma. Arjuna, he came to know that I am the Atma, which was taught to him in the second chapter. But then he went through the Karma Yoga, Upasana Yoga portion. Finally, he came to Jnana Yoga in 13th, 14th, 15th chapter. In the 18th chapter, Arjuna says, all my moha, delusion is gone. Lord Krishna asks him, is your delusion that you are the body, is it gone? He says, yes. Now I am ready to fight. That is how the chapter ends, 18th chapter ends. Here, Shankaracharya says, the world does disappear at times, proving it is mithya. Duality is not perceived by a person in deep sleep state and in samadhi state. See, samadhi state is an artificially created state where you don't see duality, dvaitam. In sleep state also, I don't see dvaitam. Sleep state is a natural state. That is why in Vedanta, they don't give too much importance to samadhi state. They say it is one of the yogic experiences. Don't give too much importance, because it is also the where you are separate and you are the subject meditator and you are observing a no mind chitta vritti nirodha. That is, you're still in Dvaita. But through Advaitam, when you do this type of study, you land in Upasamkramya, you merge with the totality, which is consciousness. Okay. This is the revision portion. Okay, this is a quite interesting one. It's a discussion. I Anupravesha. Okay, I'm just revising Anupravesha. Uh, there are two meanings of Anupravesha. This is how these are two very very important uh, topics in Vedanta. Abhasavada, Avachedavada. These are two important. It comes in almost all the higher texts of Vedanta. Maybe I should take it up in the next meeting, in the next class, but I will just to give you a glimpse of it. Abhasa means reflection. Pratibimba. I know this is a digression from the current topic of merger, but again, this topic will be useful to you to understand this Upasamkramya. That is why this slide has been presented. Now, in Abhasa, what happens is there is a formation of that pure consciousness in the mind, in the Sattva Pradhana mind. You see, I'm trying to explain to you the pure consciousness and the conditioned consciousness. Conditioned consciousness is the reflection. Your mind is the conditioning. But without the conditioning, who are you? I am the pure consciousness. Like the sun enters a mirror like a reflection. That is what is called as anupravesha. So in the case of spiritual knowledge, what happens? That pure consciousness is always it is the nature for each one of us. But in the waking state, what happens? That pure consciousness gets reflected in my mind. This is one way of understanding, which is called as abhasa, formation of reflection in the mind. Now, this formation, you must remember, is a seeming entry. Anupravesha only, but it is seeming. It is only a reflection. That is why we call it reflected consciousness. The theory of reflected consciousness is all coming from here. The second method is called as Bimba Chaitanya Drishti. Now, here we use the example of space, not the question of mirror and a reflection. Here, when we talk about Avachedavada means what? It is like the space which is available in the pot. Similarly, consciousness is available in the body mind complex. That is also called as Anupravesha. This, when it appears along with this body, it gets the name Sakshi Chaitanyam. Only whenever the body is seen, mind is seen, thoughts are seen, it is called as Sakshi Chaitanyam. But suppose the body mind is not there, it is not available, as in the sleep state, it is called as pure Chaitanya. See, this is very, very beautiful subject matter of understanding what is pure consciousness and what is anupravesha. Anupravesha means it is an entry, but it is a seeming entry. So, in the case of uh, merger, also, it is a seeming merger of the Atma with Paramatma. So whenever we say whenever you see in Puranas and you walk 10 steps and the Lord will come running 100 steps, all that is only figurative. It is not a fact. It is trying to explain to you, walk the path and you'll reach your final destination. Jnani perceives the world after Jnanam also. Jivan Mukti is possible because of knowledge. Okay, world does disappear for a jnani and ajnani in deep sleep. For both of them, jnani and ajnani, the world disappears or not in sleep. Yes. If the world is Satyam, it should always be available, always like Atma Chaitanyam. For example, even in sleep, are you there or not? Yes. But in what form? In the form of consciousness. Dakshinamurti Stotram explains this fact also, this anupravesha. He who enters into the deep sleep state, he becomes veiled in Maya. That means in the deep sleep state, I don't know who I am. To that seeker, the Lord Dakshinamurti tells him one which was available in the sleep state is the one which is also available in the waking state. So, while we are in the waking state, our mind has the flexibility to go and get a peep into the deep sleep state and ask the question in the waking state, who am I in the deep sleep state? When the world is not available at all. See, in both Samadhi Kala and in the deep sleep state, world is not available, but I am there. Mandukya Upanishad, this 31st verse, is a very beautiful verse. What it says is, whatever is not there in the beginning and which is not there in the end, it also is not there while I'm experiencing it. That means the world which was not there in the beginning, in the beginning means what? Beginning of my journey. I am the pure consciousness. At that time, the world was not there. After my body, after the death of this body, again the world is not there, but I am there. That is what is the truth. In between also, Mandukya Upanishad says it is only a seeming appearance, it is not the reality. Reality is Satyam. In this sleep state, the world does not disappear because the sleeper is absorbed in ignorance. In what ignorance? Not the world ignorance, in self ignorance. You see, all of us, we go to sleep. But in that sleep state, it is a tamasic state. It is a tamasic state where I don't know my real nature. That is what is called as sleep. That is why we say that we have slept for so many lives. After every birth, we have slept so many times. And every time we always think that we are not there in sleep. The world is not there. But Upanishad tries to explain to us, you, the consciousness, never go to sleep. Always Jagarati. Consciousness is the only thing. It is the Devata which is always present. See, all this analysis is to keep looking at Dvaitam, Advaitam. Dvaitam, Advaitam. What is truth? Advaitam is truth. Dvaitam is false. That is the conclusion of the Upanishadic inquiries. One who is absorbed in something other than the self does not experience the world. Non-experience is not disappearance of the world. It only means I didn't notice it. That's all. World was there, but I didn't notice because I was absorbed in something else. That's what Shankara tells it to Purva Pakshi. In sleep, I don't experience. Hence, world is non-existent. I am the self Turiyam. I am not the sleeper Pratnya. Even during the waking state as a Vishwa Taijasa, world does not exist even though it is experienced. See, the focus can be on the body, physical body, then you will say waking experience is real. Suppose you shift your attention to that consciousness, you will say from the level of consciousness, waking dream appears and disappears. That is what is the teaching here. The non perception of duality, agrahanam, in these sleep state is not because the world disappears, but because it is not noticed. Because uh, I am in the state of ignorance about my higher nature. Okay. After waking from sleep, I don't say I did not know the world because I was absorbed in something. Okay. Um, I mean, these are all some analysis about the deep sleep state, which I have already told you what the essence is. What it means is my real intrinsic nature is that pure consciousness, which is timeless, spaceless, worldless, sakshi. Sakshi means what? I am a sakshi. I am a witness to the state in which I don't experience the world, which is what is called as turiyam. In that state, what is the experience of the turiyam? Experience is I alone am. That is what Shankaracharya now bangs the Purva Pakshi. He says, this is what you should understand from the entire analysis of Upasamkramya. Sarva agrahanat. Agrahanat means what? I don't grasp the word sarva agrahanat. I don't grasp anything. In the waking state, my five sense organs are able to grasp the five sense objects. In the sleep state, the five sense organs have gone merged in the mind. All of us experience this state of merger of the sense organs into the mind. All of us. But we don't know that this is what is happening in the sleep state. And the mind, where does it merge? Mind merges in Atma, which is the heart, which is what is called as the physical heart, but it merges into the pure consciousness. Here, ahamkara is used. Ahamkara means our understanding that I am the physical body with an active mind in the Jagrata Avastha, where the Indriyas are active. I am the Ahamkara. Ahamkara means it is a reflected consciousness. And that reflected consciousness in the Swapna Avastha, what does it experience? It does not experience the sense objects of the waking world because the Indriyas are gone to sleep. That is the mental state. It is an avastha. And the last one is causal. Causal means it has gone uh, into the causal body, which is where the jiva sleeps in the deep sleep state. And that is where there is no experience of the world at all. And also there is spiritual ignorance. Okay. So you see, these sections are very much involved in the three states. Waking, dream, sleep state comes into Taittiriya Upanishad analysis when Shankaracharya analyzes the merger of jiva with pure consciousness. World is factually non-existent in Sushupti. Therefore, it is called as Mithya. See, Mithya is something which our intellect should be able to grasp. Then only Vedanta of Advaitam will become clear. Advaitam becomes a fact only when world is Mithya. Suppose world you keep on thinking is Satyam. It is real, it is real, it is real. Then you will not be able to reach Atma. Okay. Um, World is experienced as real. This is another Puro Pakshi who comes and asks this question. I experience, therefore, world is existent. Like I experience the moon, therefore, there is a moon. I don't experience world is non-existent. These are the two options. I will take it up next week. This is a this is uh, this is a dialogue between Purva Pakshi and Shankaracharya, uh, which we will see next week because time is up for today. Okay, so we'll start with 1129, this slide 1129. See, this entire section of Upasamkramya, the merger of Jiva with Paramatma or the consciousness, the final step. Shankaracharya takes it in very, very big. See, he brings out all this type of question and answer so that our mind can go deeper and deeper and trying to reach that pure consciousness level. That is the purpose of this study of this uh, type of reasoning. See, we have done a lot of reasoning today. What we have done is our mind has dwelt on Bheda, Abheda. Is Bheda the truth? Duality the truth? Is Abheda the truth? Non-duality is the truth. I, the Upanishad wants to us to come to realization that Advaitam is the truth. Bheda is experienced, but it is not factual. Sense organs are seeing Bheda, but consciousness, which is the power behind the sense organs, is Advaita. It is single. It is Ekam. Anyway, I'll explain this more. Again, the more you hear about consciousness, Advaitam, consciousness, Bheda, your mind will start understanding this subject matter more deeply. Okay? Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachade Purnasya Purnamathaya Purnameva Vasishyade Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Yeah, Rama, you're right. Your understanding is clear. Uh, what you're saying in the what you're saying in the chat box is correct. See, we have to drop our identification with our body and the world slowly. It will not go away. It will not go away immediately. But what you are saying is correct. That my experiences which I have with my mind, they are all there. But are they ultimately the truth? That is the question which each one of us should ask. My eyes are seeing form, my ears are listening to sound, my skin can touch, feel. These are all duality. My relationships in the world is always with reference to the body. But body is not going to remain all the time. Is there something else which I don't know? That is what Upanishad teaching tells me. There is another principle called as awareness principle, the consciousness principle. If I if I keep telling myself I am the pure consciousness, I exist without this body, without the relationships. Relationships are real. I'm not saying they are not real, but they are relatively real. Whenever I experience my body, physical body, my son, my wife, my mother, my sister, my brother, all of them are real. But Upanishad or the spiritual study is not about this body. The Upanishadic study, Vedantic study is about consciousness in which this waking state itself is coming and going. That is what you should try to hold on to, which is absolutely right. Your understanding is correct. There is a substratum. There is a principle in which this entire waking state is coming, dream state is coming, sleep state is coming. None of these three states are permanent, which all of you will agree. Which dream state have you been able to hold? Which waking state have you been able to hold? Which sleep state have you been able to hold? You get all these are coming, coming, going, coming, going. It is not under your control, my control. There is some other controller for these three states. That controller, I don't know. My eyes can't see it. But that is where I have to do this study to understand that there is a principle of pure consciousness, and that alone is. That is your focus of study during the entire Taittriya Upanishad, or it is Mandukya Upanishad, which we will do tomorrow. The focus should be always the mind at the background. For example, if a dancer is there or a singer is there, there's a shruti which is played at the background. So the dancer knows, or the actor, for example, in a drama or a movie, he knows he is only playing a role. All of us are only playing a role of a father, of a son, of a brother. All of us are playing a role in this world, but the one who is playing the role has to realize I am something different than these roles. Roles are coming and going, but I am the pure consciousness. In that consciousness, there is no difference at all. There is no body wise difference. I will tell you in brief what Mandukya Upanishad teaches about Atma. Just a small lesson from Mandukya. See, what Mandukya says, Mandukya Upanishad, it says, now, same thing is, you should be able to apply that and understand this consciousness. Why I'm giving you that Mandukya Upanishad example is, teaching is, in the third chapter of Mandukya Upanishad, I'm doing Mandukya on Sundays. But in the third, I'm doing the first chapter now, but in the third chapter of the Mandukya, the same topic comes. How does the person, the soul in this body, tries to drop the identification and tries to reach that consciousness? That is the topic. In Mandukya, it's very beautifully done. It says that whenever we are experiencing Dvaitam means duality. Whenever we experience our waking state, or the dream state, or the sleep state, in these three states, there are three things involved. What are the three things? For example, in the knowing, in the waking state, I am a knower. This knower of the world. I know the world. I am the knower. I know the body. I am the knower. This knower is called as pramata. Knower who knows the body, who knows this world. Then what? There is a second thing. What is the second thing? Neyam. That means, what do I know? The known world is made up of five elements. So there is a knower, There is a known world. And what is the third thing? The third thing is there is an instrument of knowing. My eyes, my ears, my tongue, my skin, my nose, they are the perceptors of the world of five sense objects. This is the world of Dvaitam, duality. This is one part of the study, which we all know, nothing new, but I'm only breaking up into three portions: knower, known, knowing instrument. This is duality. For duality, for plurality, for knowing anatma. Now Mandukya Upanishad says, in the deep sleep state, knower, known, knowing instrument are not operational. In the sleep state, these three are not there. They are not functional, but you are there. That state where you are there, when there is no duality, the duality is caused by this triputi, which is the center of this triputi is the mind. Whenever the mind is there, you see plurality in the world. Whenever the mind is sleeping, you are in your real nature, which is Advaitam. What is the meaning of that? I am there without the knower, known, knowing instrument, Triputi. So, who knows? This is the last point in that analysis of Mandukya Upanishad. What is the last question the student asks? Who is the knower? Who is the knowing instrument? Who is the known? What is the known object in the sleep state? The answer Shankaracharya gives there. Consciousness is the knower, consciousness is the known, and the consciousness is the instrument of knowing in the sleep state for Atman Jnanam. For the knowledge of consciousness, this knower, known, knowing instrument, which we use it in the waking state, merges and it merges into consciousness, and consciousness itself knows that I am that pure Atma. Very beautiful analysis in the third chapter of Mandukya. I just wanted to give it to you because you raised such a beautiful question. And okay, so Rama, we got the answer. I spent a lot of time.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Namaste. Yeah.
Good. Rob Myers, I feel I'm in the right place. I look forward to continue the study. Okay, very good, Rob. And nice to see you. Please continue the study. Any other questions anybody would like to ask? Shanmugam, can you unmute everybody? If you're already unmuted, then anybody, each one of you can unmute yourself and ask the question. Yeah, Shanmugam, have you unmuted all?
Yes, sir. I am unmuted. Yes. I don't have any question, but I just wanted to express my thanks so much because I'm enjoying this class so much. And every class I attend, so the clarity in my mind is increasing, and I'm enjoying that. Which I am able to implement in day-to-day life. So how I perceive things and
Good, very good. You are able to apply Vedanta in practical life, and that is how that's how one should learn Vedanta. That's good, very good.
thank you, sir.
Baubai, you have a question?
Mm. Question the Saturday one, I forgot already. What is the
Okay,
question?
no problem, no problem. It's okay. You can, whenever you remember, you can let me know. Any other person has a question?
Namaskaram. 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 Namaskaram.
Okay, anybody else has a question? If there are no questions, we'll stop here and then we'll continue our study next week. Okay, thank you and namaste. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, sir. Namaste.
Thank you.
Sir. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you. Namaste.
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 Namaskaram.